Most motorcyclists know where the gas stations are along their favorite routes. Older riders know where the bathrooms are. With age comes a different kind of wisdom. If you've been riding for any length of time, you've probably gone through your speed racer phase. You got a Suzuki Monster Rocket with clip-ons that left you hunched over your tank like a frightened prawn, and you ripped through tires faster than oil. Because as a younger rider, you probably didn't bother much with changing your oil, or maintaining proper tire pressure. But you sure did keep that bike shiny. And while some of us who are of a certain age might still ride such torture machines, most of us have chosen a more upright lifestyle. As older riders, we realize it's more fun to get home retaining the ability to walk rather than needing to be airlifted onto the couch. That's why we tend to choose more sensible bikes with easier riding positions. We don't care so much now if we look like the fastest, most aggressive riders on the road. We care about losing ourselves in the ride, seeing new parts of the world, and getting home in one piece. Last weekend I found myself on this road you're seeing now. It's a twisty, beautiful, lonely place in the middle of Oregon that sees little traffic, very few Tesla cyber abominations, and a whole lot of us older riders looking for a thrill. And by thrill, I mean we know the chances of getting wiped out by a texter are a lot less than in the city. Spending time alone on this road got me thinking about riding as an older guy and the things I've learned that differentiate me from the wheelie-popping kiddos just starting out. There was a time in my life, and probably yours, where you ignored the right choice and chose style over substance. That's the beauty and curse of being young. You get to do crazy shit. One thing I've learned as an older rider though, we still get to do crazy shit if we really want. We just pay a higher price sometimes. When I first started riding, I thought I needed to look the part. I ended up in armored riding pants that were at least a size too small for me, because that looked quite sporting. I wouldn't dare wear anything high-vis. Might as well just wear a banana suit if you're gonna do that. My idea of riding boots was a pair of Harley shit kickers that offered about as much protection as you'd expect from a boot with a Harley logo on it. And they were like $300. Live and learn. With age, I've learned a few things about how to dress, both on and off the bike. And for me, they're about the same. I wear comfortable, situation-appropriate clothing that doesn't distract drivers or call unwanted attention to myself, but isn't so nerdy that I look like a pushover. This is a real thing, by the way, at least for me. I've found that the way I dress while riding, say a leather biker jacket versus a 29 Pocket Inspector Gadget ADV coat, changes drivers' perception of who I am. I'm less likely to get messed with if I look like I can do some messing with in return. That doesn't stop me from wearing my nerd coat. It's just something I'm aware of, something I use to my advantage sometimes. With age, I've also learned a few things about people, and how beautiful and how horrible they can be. When I was a younger man, drinking myself through journalism school and ready to change the world, I'd talk to just about anyone. It freaked my mom out, and I got a lecture from the local police chief about trusting people too much. But standing on a dark street in Amsterdam with the nasty end of a pistol jammed into my ribcage when I was 21 taught me a thing or two about vulnerability. For the most part, people are fine. You can't live with them, and you can't live without them. Except you can, on both accounts, and that's one thing I've learned with age. I used to have a fear of missing out, or FOMO as the youths call it. If I knew something was going on and I wasn't there, I'd lose my mind. But now, I just don't care. Or do I? When I went off adventuring last weekend, I did so with two great friends. At the end of the day, we met up with my wife and another friend and spent one of the most fun nights I've had in a long time hanging around in an Airbnb cabin in the middle of nowhere. The next day we went for brunch, and then I was done peopling. I was ready for some alone time and headed off on my own to find my way home. Maybe in the video you can see the exact moment I got lonely. Maybe not, but it didn't take very long. After a while I hit pause on the camera and just rode until I reached a tiny town and saw two familiar motorcycles at the gas pumps. Those were my riding buddies. I accidentally caught up to them and couldn't have been more happy. Ended up doing the rest of the ride home with them. So glad we reunited. As older riders, I think we appreciate our alone time more. At the same time, we really cherish the times we can make memories with the ones we love. I think younger folks, and I was definitely like this, don't appreciate their alone time as much as we do, and take for granted the time that they have with friends. As older riders, we're much more attuned to what our bodies and our minds can withstand. We know that 8 hours in the saddle might result in 8 hours of pain, somewhere, if not everywhere. But we also know how to mitigate that a bit, something that younger riders either don't need to do or just ignore. When I know I'm going to be out on a full day of riding, I take certain steps to make sure I'm comfortable, healthy, and happy. First, I don't mess around with the weather. Riding in the cold without layers or the rain without waterproof gear makes me miserable, especially as I age. I used to run hot, now I'm chilly when a cloud covers the sun. Where I used to head out into the wild in nothing more than a pair of old jeans and a t-shirt, now that's just not a thing. Not just for safety reasons, but because I'd freeze. In the summer. In Death Valley. Second, I take a lot of breaks. Bathroom breaks. Water breaks. More bathroom breaks. Again, more water breaks. I'm seeing a pattern here. Anyway. As older riders, it's important we get off the bike now and again and stretch the old legs. But it's also important that we stop and smell the roses, or whatever that smell is. That's why we're out in the first place, and with age comes more appreciation of the little things. Lastly, the older I get, the more my technique is improved, and I really do believe that proper riding technique makes riding not as strenuous on our older bones. Remember hanging 3/4 of the way off the side of our bike going into turns? Looked cool, but was pretty pointless. I still do it from time to time because it can be a lot of fun, but it's not part of my normal routine. Nor is ducking down behind the windscreen to get 2 or 3 more miles per hour on the highway. It's just not worth the toll that shit takes on my back. I'm happy as an upright citizen. Speaking of which, I've learned to really enjoy riding standing on the pegs. Not for hours, but it's a great way to stretch your legs between rest stops. My dad didn't give a shit. I've mentioned this in past videos. He cared little about what anyone thought of him, and that's why he was always smiling and singing. As a kid, I cared way too much what folks thought of me. I guess that's part and parcel of being a chubby kid. As I grow older, my giving a fuck levels have really dipped. Seriously. I recently made a scooter video where I rode around the city with a rubber chicken and just aimlessly honked it at people. Dear God, that was fun. I got a lot of smiles, but also a lot of folks looking at me like I had 2 heads. I didn't care one bit about that. I did it for the laughs. It made me happy. My dad had a lot of friends because he was genuine and didn't worry whether people liked him. That's why people liked him. I've become my dad. There's a freedom that comes with not taking yourself or life too seriously. That's easy for young people to say, but so few of them actually live it. As older members of society, we've paid most of our dues. We've found the ones we love, and they love us back for who we are, not who we pretend to be or who we want to be. So when I'm on my bike, the only thing I really care about is my safety. I don't care too much about going slow or having a 300 horsepower super bike or dressing like I'm hitting the clubs. I don't care if people think I look silly riding an ATV bike to the store or a scrambler to a funeral. I don't care if my bike is too loud. My neighbors' dogs are too loud. Their kids are too loud. Their life choices are too loud. I don't care. Live and let live, and most of all, just let me live. Hopefully I've painted a picture here, one that shows that growing older ain't so bad. As long as we still have the ability to swing a leg over a bike, we have the ability to age in style. It may irritate our joints and our families, but we can bear the negatives of riding, knowing what we know, and carry on living our lives. The most important things are to stay as healthy as we can, to be as safe as possible given the risks we face, and to do this thing we love for as long as we can. All of this equals a happy life, along with the love and encouragement of our friends and family. If you've got that, you've got everything you need. They say youth is wasted on the young. So be it. I won't waste my years now that I'm older. I'll keep riding until I can't, and then I'll just tell stories about riding to anyone who will listen. No one will, probably, but at least I'll be laughing. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support of this channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing.